guys now, like kids I've coached, and it's crazy. Like I say crazy, but I mean it's amazing. Like the level of respect still, even though they hadn't seen me in all those years. Like
and they look very different now.
yeah, I mean some of them have kids my kids' age.
Wow.
Like I coached my youngest son was playing Wii ball. You know, Wii ball starts at like 3, so it's 3 and 4. It's the new HT ball for little kids. You know. And I was coaching against a kid that I coached. I coached him. At the time I was 25. So I actually started coaching in 2005. I was 25 and Devin was 10. So I was 15 years older than him, right? I'm coaching my youngest son in Wii ball. This is about 2 years ago, and I'm coaching against him because his daughter's on the other team.
Wow.
Yeah, man, it's amazing.
Full circle.
Yeah.
Full circle. What led you to want to do that in the first place? A lot of parents will coach their kids' teams.
Yeah.
Not many will go coach other kids. So what led you to want to do that?
Well, I've always been into sports, but beyond having a passion for sports, having a passion for children. I could think of the good coaches I've had that have had a lasting impact on me, and I'm an adult. You know what I mean? I can think back to when I was like middle school or even high school. You know, what coaches had a lasting impact, positive impact. You know, what coaches would yell at you to have you go do something, and which coaches would tell you to do something, they get out there and they do it with you. You know, so that's something that's always been in me, like, you know, coaching, instructing, helping kids get better. That's the biggest thing, seeing their growth and seeing their confidence grow as their skill level grows. So yeah, man, it's always been in me, coach.
Good. I've done a little bit of coaching. It's always been my kids' teams, and it's usually been something I ain't had no business doing. So one time I coached track. I was probably the slowest person on the court. So, but I could yell run.
Yeah, that's right, man. I'll tell you from my experience, because I've coached, and I coached football again in last fall with my kids as well. Well, one of my kids. So I've coached football for about 11 years total.
Wow.
I helped coach middle school basketball 1 year. I've coached baseball multiple years with, you know, both boys. I never coached Zoe in anything because she's been doing dance and gymnastics.
You can dance? All right, you can.
I can hammer time. I can hammer time. That's crazy. But yeah, man, I just always love coaching, man. But yeah, with coaches, from my experience, on every staff, you need that one guy that understands the game. Because the majority of coaches are just parents who have time, which is great. Because without volunteers, you don't have anybody.
That's right.
But for, I'll say, successful programs, there's at least one guy who understands the game, whether it's football, basketball, volleyball, baseball. So, and they understand it to a level to where they can take these complex things, break it into small blocks, and explain it to these kids. And and that's how you progress, because we can take the best team in the league, but if none of us know what we're doing, by the end of the season, we're gonna be one of the worst teams in the league.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah, talent can only carry you so far. So, but yeah, man, I've always loved coaching, man.
Good for you. I coached that track team 1 year, and then I coached soccer 1 year. Again, I had no business being out there, but the head coach had a little bit of knowledge. He just needed some help, so I volunteered.
All hands on deck, man.
All hands on deck. So, but good, man. Good for you. I think that's good, giving back, and not just for our own children, but just children in the community.
That's right. Yeah. That's right, man. Being able to reach those outside of your household as well. Now, granted, the ones inside the household do get priority.
Yeah, that's right.
You're supposed to take care of them first, but yeah, man. Out of the abundance and overflow, you be able to bless the other kids as well.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, man. Good.
All right. Any specific questions you wanted to tackle?
You know, I think maybe general question. Tell me about your father.
Okay.
Why don't we start there?
Yeah, that's fine. So my dad, Clyde Balknack Sr. So he was the most unusual thing about his situation, his life. He was raised by my Uncle Will. So he was raised by his oldest brother. So they came up, oh my gosh, so let's see, in the 50s. And so he and his siblings would miss the first month and a half of school because they actually had to pick cotton.
Wow.
Yeah, so they were going to school
What
in
city,
October,
state? Where are we
like down
about?
in Hopkins,
Okay.
Gaston area.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, going towards Sumter.
Yeah.
So yeah, they would actually pick cotton the first couple of months. You know, it's harvest time or whatever, and they'd be getting into school around October, and other kids had already been there for 2 months or so.
Wow.
They lost their parents at a very young age. Well, the kids were young, you know. So, interesting fact. My dad's dad was an older man. He married a younger lady. But he was born in 1889.
Wow.
My grandfather.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
He was born. He was born almost. Well, he was born 91 years before me.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That is.
But yeah, man. My dad.
You didn't get to meet him? That sounds like a ridiculous question.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry.
So yeah, man. My dad went into the military after school. So my dad was an athlete.
Okay.
Oh man, we gotta find pictures.
Okay.
I got a picture of him. He played running back. I think it was Weber High School at the time. Weber's middle school now. And he was. So I've heard urban legend. You know, your dad, his brother was the fastest thing down in the country and all of that. And even my mom has told me stories about him playing football and how, he was just before his time as far as being able to get scholarships and opportunities like that. Just because they didn't do that for many black people back then. But yeah, man, he got himself a trade, HVAC. Not HVAC, heating and air.
Okay.
What's he heating and air? No. He does, heating and air. That's correct.
Okay.
Heating and air. At Palmer College.
Okay.
He got drafted into the military.
Wow.
He actually served in Vietnam.
Wow.
They did I gotta double check this, but it was like a 6-week training or something like that, and then they got shipped off to Vietnam. Another cool thing. I found pictures of his boo thing from Vietnam. It's a known thing, and I didn't know about it until 6 months ago. I just heard people talking about, man, we gotta find this, and my mom got photo albums of everything. And so yeah, man, I found 6 or 7 pictures of him and his Vietnamese boo thing. It's real. It's official.
Wow, he got drafted. That's hard.
Yeah, he got drafted, man. But yeah, he's a Mason.
Is he retired? Is he working?
Yeah,
still?
he's retired. He retired when my daughter Zoe was born, so that's 11 years ago. We got pictures at his retirement party. Zoe's a harm baby. He began working at International Paper in '84, and he retired in 2013. No, he retired in 2014. Perfect attendance.
Wow.
Perfect attendance, man.
Talking about commitment.
Yeah, exactly.
And discipline.
You
gotta be disciplined.
That's showing up to work sick.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, that's what that is.
Yeah.
Man, ain't not gonna keep. And that's one of the main things I learned from him, showing up.
Yeah.
If you got a job to do, you show up. I'm gonna veer off into a story real fast. So this is probably the most impactful lesson. My dad never had conversations with us, and you think about it, he never had a dad sit down and teach him stuff because his dad passed away. So if you paid attention, you learned a lot. He set the example, but he's not gonna sit you down and walk you through ABC, XYZ. But yeah, man, I was in the 7th or 8th grade, and they were doing middle school basketball tryouts.
Okay.
And so the tryouts were on a Saturday. Now, granted, my dad's he's a Mason, 33rd degree. He's been a Mason for 45, 50 years, something like that.
Wow.
Crazy. So we had youth group on the 3rd Saturday of the month. I think that's the 3rd Saturday. So from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., we're in there with the group. Basketball tryouts fell on that Saturday. So I'm begging, I'm the baby boy, so I'm trying to convince him to let me go, whatever. And I don't remember his exact words, but the point was, you got somewhere to be. You got somewhere to be, you gonna be there. And that has followed me, to a fault, honestly, That's one thing I know how to show up.
Yeah.
If I've committed myself to do something, I'm gonna show up. You ain't gotta come looking for joy. Now with that, you have to exercise some. You got to have some good decision making on what you commit to.
Yeah,
I'll put it that way.
Sure.
But because you can't commit to everything and show up for everything, because then you got nothing in the reserve for the people you're supposed to be serving.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
I thought about it one way, like, I mean, you essentially turn yourself into they call it white knight syndrome. You know what I mean? Going around saving people. You know, but it's like, if I'm a firefighter and I'm going around putting out everybody's fire. Once I run out of fire, the smallest ember at my house could just combust and be something I can't handle.
That's right.
You know, so yeah, that's why I say to a fault, because you gotta, when you sold out to what you sold out to, you gotta be selective about what you get sold out to. You know, but yeah, that's the biggest. I think that's the biggest lesson I've learned from my father.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, he worked full time. He worked swing shift. You know, so you know, I'm doing first shift for 2 weeks. I'm doing second shift for 2 weeks. I'm doing third shift for 2 weeks, and then it rotates again. Yeah. You know, so that's not an easy schedule to get. You never get used to it. Like, he's retired and he still stays up late at night. You know, you probably just don't get used to it. Yeah. But yeah, man. Yeah, learning how to show up is the biggest trait I got from him.
And that's a very important one, because a lot of people, you can't trust them with what they tell you. So if you can be a man of your word and do what you say you're gonna do, be where you say you're gonna be, when you say you're gonna be there. Yeah. I mean, that's admirable.
It's a big thing, man.
Yeah.
So he had a swing shift job. He was very active in the Masonic Lodge until like maybe a year ago.
Oh wow. Okay.
Very active. They having a meeting, he's there. If there's a committee, he's probably on that committee.
Okay.
He was also a volunteer firefighter.
Wow.
And he also worked this program where it was they did lunches at the schools with different kids, almost like a mentoring program. So he did all those things. You know, so he's a very busy, active person.
Still very busy?
Not so much now. So he retired 10 years ago? Yeah, about 10 years ago. But even after that, he still was doing contract work.
Okay.
And he was still doing heating and air on the side.
Yeah.
But now he's dealing with some memory issues.
Okay.
So he's not as active, but yeah, if something going on, he don't mind going. Yeah. You know. Yeah. Hey, Daddy, let's go ride somewhere. Let's go. Let's do it. But like even with his memory issues, man, he's the happiest dude.
That's good.
Like, he is the, you know.
You mind sharing his age?
Yeah, my dad's 78.
78. Okay.
My dad's 78. He's almost 80 years old. He'll be 80 next March.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, man. I would tell us because he laughed at it. We were together with the kids about 3 weeks ago, and he was talking to my daughter Zoe, and Zoe asked him how old he is. He's like, "I'm 70 years old." I said, "Daddy, you 78?" I said, "Hell, I'm 78 years old." And started laughing. So he the happiest dude, man.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, man. It's awesome because I've heard horror stories about people, you know, when they realize they have memory issues, they start lashing out, they nasty. Man, we're not dealing with that at all. So
that's good.
It's a major blessing, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Good, man. Good.
All right, man. You got to tell us about the doctor.
Let's see. My dad. I've talked about him quite a bit, probably already so far. But my dad passed 2013. Let me think. What year is this? 2024. Yeah. So January 2013. So died of colon cancer. My dad was incredible, man. My dad was United Methodist minister. Grew up in the church. My granddad was a minister. I've said all of that. But my dad was very committed to his relationship with God. He ended up being a district superintendent. So in the Methodist church, you have the churches, then you have the district superintendent who's, you know, not over, but oversees all the churches in the district. So he ended up being the district superintendent in Spartanburg. So 80 churches or so were under his jurisdiction.
Wow.
Yeah. Then he ended up in Tennessee as a district superintendent, probably the same number of churches, but he was headed towards like super senior leadership in the Methodist Church.
How long was he in Tennessee?
Probably 6 years. Yeah. So he started off, he went to college to be a preacher. So I don't know how anybody knows at 16 or 17, whatever the age was, that they would want to go. I know he didn't want to. We already talked about that, but he answered the call at an early age, and he was committed to it. So he and my mom got married super young. They both went to grad school together. My dad went to Duke Divinity. My mom, master's degree. I mentioned she's got a doctorate as well. So both very educated. But my dad was a powerful preacher. I mean, he could shake a church. Like, it was something special. My granddad as well. So they both had booming.
You got any recordings of your granddad?
I think my mom might have one. I've got recordings of my dad on my phone that I will definitely keep, because I got a younger version of my dad. Like, this was when I was in like 10th grade, and he was very political, powerful preaching. And then I got another one when he's like 60 or so. No, he didn't make it to 60, so maybe 50 or so. And you could see just the change. So he was really political, young. I think he evolved, as we all do. But my dad never said, "Son, let me teach you how to be a father. Let me teach you how to be a man." He never said, "Son, I want you to be a Sigma," even though he is a Sigma. My granddad was a Sigma. He never said, "Son, I want you to go into the ministry," even though it looks like I might be going into the ministry. But I saw his commitment to his ministry, to his call, and that was super influential for me. I'm a lot like my mom as well. So all growing up, I thought I was like my mom. I thought my dad we always had a really good relationship, but he was always super busy in the church. Like, I can remember my mom was at all the basketball games. My dad might show up periodically. Go.
Same.
Yeah.
Same, because like all those things my dad was doing, he was also a trustee in the church for as far back as I can remember. And he was, usually he was always working, but yeah, for the basketball games and all of the events, my mom was there.
Yeah.
Like, even to the point to where, like, I was an adult playing Rip League, just adult league, and my mom was there. She's like, "Go, baby." Yeah. Bring no friend. What is this?
Y'all come see my baby play basketball.
What is this? I'm sorry, I had to.
Yeah, so, but he was super busy in the church, man. It was, he was very, he was a great person, man. He was very committed to his call. Jovial, larger than life kind of personality, light up the room. So he was that kind of person. So yeah, he got sick and he had colon cancer. He had a probably 4 or 5 year battle, I would say. So that was tough on the family. But you know what? My experience with this call has kind of reconciled a lot for me. So I've come to accept a lot of what's happened, and I know my dad is in the kingdom.
That's right.
There's a scripture in 1 John, I think. The world and its desires will pass away, but whoever does the will of God will live forever. So I know my daddy did the will of God for his life. So I don't know if you can ask for much more than that.
That's right.
But yeah, super committed. He was larger than life. One other thing I would mention is that, so my dad passed January 4th, 2013. My wife's dad died January 7th, 2013. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah. So her dad, he was a minister as well. So yeah, my dad and her dad were ministers. They knew each other from Spartanburg. Our grandfathers knew each other. So this is a generational kind of thing. But we got to see both our fathers kind of rise to their peaks, and then they both had these medical situations, past 3 days apart. It was devastating for the family, but that's part of our story that we were able to overcome and get through. But I didn't grow up like my dad. I think I've ended up like him in recent years, just because of the divinity in the ministry. But super impactful to me. My granddad as well. My great uncle was a minister. So I think just through evolution and through time, I've ended up like them, even though I didn't necessarily want to be or try to start off like them. But yeah, long answer to a short question. But